wants to save you money
It's kind of
in the summertime.
interesting.
Well, if we never have a summer, my water bill won't be that bad.
I'm going through a lot of water so far.
Mine was over $1,300 last summer. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's just like I got
Think of that when you vote.
banquet.
Wait, so for Father's Day, I got my
Mr. Mayor Pro
sons
Tem,
and
7
their
o'clock.
dad, tickets to that barbecue.
Now
They
it's
get the
Yeah, I thought,
A&A.
I wanted to go to that, and I didn't realize, I thought it was next month, I thought it was, I was thinking July, and I was thinking June. You guys ready?
Test 1, 2.
No, screw it.
We'll call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. This is a regular city council meeting on Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. If I can get everybody to silence their cell phones, and we'll
Mr. Smith,
do a roll call.
I just wanted to make sure you turned your microphone and your camera
Okay.
on the go-to.
On the go-to. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Tell Will's-
So we'll call the meeting to order, 7 p.m. This is a City of Woodlands City Council regular meeting, Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. If I can get everybody to silence your cell phones and please, do we call to order? Yep, sorry. I was
Yep.
thinking roll call, but, and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
we can do a roll call.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Here.
Councilmember Rounds,
Here.
Councilmember Chapman,
Here.
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Burke,
Here.
Councilmember Holland,
Present.
Councilmember Rowland.
So Councilmember Rowland has called out for the evening. The chair will accept a motion to excuse
I
Ms.
make a
Rowland.
motion to excuse Mrs. Rowland.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Round, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Take the roll again.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Motion to excuse Councilmember Rowland has been approved. Don't have any proclamations, so we'll move on to citizen communications for items not on the agenda. Do I have anybody? Okay. Thank you. So I have Willie Bowman. Sorry.
I think you probably heard of me.
Willie Boland. If you'd like to step up and state your name, and you have 5 minutes.
My name is Willie Bowen. I'd like to introduce myself, get a little bit of background for credibility purposes. I worked for a major corporation for 42 years. I was involved in 3 administrating free programs for government programs. I was a problem-solving facilitator for corporate and our local company. I also wrote the emergency response plan for catastrophic events for the Longview area. My question, you ready? My question is, I think I talked to Mr. Burke before I voted for him, and we discussed the infrastructure issues. Ain't one of you people, I don't know, maybe you don't live here. Y'all living here in Woodland? Haven't you noticed Lewis River Road and trying to get to the freeway from here? We talked, you and I talked about infrastructure and said, shouldn't be any development until, damn it, we get roads and signs in. This is gonna be like Vancouver, and you guys are gonna be caught with your pants down. That's the long and short of it. There's many, many people. I'm one. These two people here probably didn't even read the article, but they're aware of what's happening here. In the case of a catastrophic event, Lewis River Road is a nightmare, and there's more and more developments going on. It don't make sense. Aren't you, all you people, supposed to support the city and the people in it? Well, explain why it's not happening. More developments, no infrastructure. I saw a letter, a person said that development has to happen before infrastructure. I don't know where he came from, but I've been involved in some major construction projects. We always put a way in and out, gated, everything necessary for smooth flow of operation. This is not happening. Why? It's not happening here. Why? Why are developments continuing to be approved? Who approves them? You guys? You sign off on new developments? You?
Can I have you just addressed all questions to me? The council members can answer questions.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, who does make the decisions on new developments?
The council is the ones who make approval. Some of them is the zoning, but I would address any questions at this point to Pete, and he can send them to the mayor and Mr. Goddard behind you.
Well, you gonna address them, or do I?
The questions?
Yeah.
I would say send an email to the mayor and CC.
I've heard from people that they don't get any response from you guys, and that's what the big bitch is, that you do things, how many people are aware and been told that the traffic is gonna build up, and no, we don't have new roads, and no, we don't have this, and access for emergency vehicles on Lewis River Road sucks.
I agree with you. It's a challenge. And I know the city is constantly
for
fighting to
God's
try to make the
sakes.
changes.
I mean, common sense says don't make matters worse until you make access,
Yeah.
ingress and egress better. You got all these citizens and taxpayers paying bills out here, lots of taxes coming in. Where the hell's the money going? I've heard a rumor that there was supposed to be a swimming pool and money was set aside for it, and it disappeared. What's happening?
The city was never part of the pool.
Well, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah.
But I'm aware of some of the developments going on, and I can see the traffic being more and more and more of a nightmare.
Yeah. There's a lot of
it's-
developments that are happening outside in the county also.
But
And
it's-
those are being approved by county.
But it's really bullshit to just go ahead and just continue to, I mean, there's nothing in it for you. I mean, there shouldn't be.
No, we all live here.
Anything in it for you for approving projects. So by approving projects without infrastructure, you're saying, we don't care what you people think.
I would say any of projects that are approved, I would certainly send those emails and those questions off to the mayor,
How about the
Peter Boyce,
citizens
and
knowing?
Travis Goddard, and they can explain them a lot better. So
Well-
I would certainly come up with detailed information and send that email off. Every time I've seen an email, the mayor has definitely responded to stuff, so he's pretty responsive.
I can,
So,
if there's problems, I can help facilitate problems. I've done it
Okay.
on a corporate and a company level. And there is a big problem here. You have a lot of unhappy people that represent and vote for you.
yeah. Well, we are at the 5-minute here now, so
All right.
I thank you for your time, but I definitely send the email so you can get a better response.
Well, I'm not good at email stuff, but it should come to me because I'm a citizen. I want the answers. I shouldn't have to beg for them, you know?
Yes.
All
Thank
right,
you for your time.
You did.
So if there is not anybody else in the audience that would like to speak for items not on the agenda, we'll move on to items on the agenda. I don't have anybody written down. Is there anybody who would like to speak for items on the agenda tonight in the audience? Okay, we'll move on to the agenda approval.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
You may ask for the go-to meeting.
Oh,
folks.
sorry.
There's someone on-
Is there anybody on, oh, it looks like Maitney Whitney would like to speak for something? I don't know if you're wanting to speak for items on the agenda or not on the agenda, Ms. Rabb. Just one moment here. We're gonna work on some sound quality issues here. I'm not hearing anything on this. Is it plugged in over there? Do we? See, this is plugged in.
Yeah.
Is this not supposed to be plugged
It
in?
is.
I'm not sure.
That's what I'm wondering. You try speaking again, Ms. Rabb, see if we can hear you better. I can hear you moving around, but I don't hear any voice out of you.
Oh, I saw her at something. I didn't know that you were, that things were fixed yet.
Yeah, I just had to unplug something here. It got plugged in a little wrong. So you can have 5 minutes to give some testimony, and you can start whenever you're ready.
My questions are, and I guess statement is regarding this new transportation district that's being set up or thought to be being set up, as well as the moratorium on the traffic impact fees on businesses. I understand that we want to encourage businesses to come here. Realistically, the only businesses that are gonna be coming to Woodland that would be paying traffic impact fees would be bigger businesses. So I don't see, if they were gonna build in Clark County, they would, anywhere in Clark County, they would have to do traffic impact fees. So doing a moratorium on big businesses coming in that have the money to help support the roads in our town, I do not understand why that decision was made to turn away the money that we clearly don't have because our roads are not in good shape. As well, the voters voted down creating a transportation district in Woodland, so I don't know why the city council is 6 months later, 7 months later, however many months it's been, it was just done in 2021, I believe in December, that, and the citizens voted down creating this transportation district. And here we are, looking at creating this when, and then also raising taxes to pay for the roads that you just put a moratorium on, charging builders for, saying from what I'd seen on comments on social media that we didn't need the funds from them because we were getting all this grant money. And as someone who has worked with budgeting with the city of Woodland before, when I was on the fire department, a lot of the grant money that you get has to be matched by a certain percentage from the city. So saying that, oh, we have all these grants coming in, doesn't mean that we don't have to put any money into it to be able to get that grant money, as well as getting money from the state that isn't grant money. The majority of the time, we have to put in a certain amount of money. And so why would we be shutting down a revenue source that saying, well, we're not gonna come in because we don't wanna support having good roads that our people would need to get to the business on, their customers would need to get to the business on. The people who live there would need to get on. And I'm frustrated that so many times the council does not listen to what the voters are saying. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, the council heard all of your testimony very clearly. I know it's on the agenda tonight as a workshop item, I think, and it is going to be discussed tonight. No action has been taken by council yet, so I appreciate your testimony. Is there anybody else online that would like to provide testimony for items not on the agenda or for items on the agenda? Seeing none, we can move on to the agenda approval tonight.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve the agenda by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Take the roll call, Ms. Anderson.
Councilmember Chapman?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy?
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Agenda has been approved. We can move on to, at this point, the public hearing. Let me find out. Mr. Boyce, when we move into the public hearing, are we closing the?
Well, we open the public hearing and then we close the public hearing. So we know the time when the public hearing starts.
Okay.
And the time when it closes. So there would be one for the Transportation Benefit District Funding Ordinance, and then another for Resolution 746 for the Transportation Improvement Plan.
So we're opening up a hearing, public hearing for ordinance 1518, and then we'll close that one and then open one for resolution 746. Okay. Okay, at this time, we will move to open public hearing for ordinance 1518, Transportation Benefit District Funding Ordinance, first reading at 7:16. So we can open for discussion at this point. Is there, do we have testimony that, to discuss this by? Or is it- Nobody prepared a presentation? Okay.
Basically, this opens it up that if people do want to have comments like we have, this would be their chance to do so before the council went into its workshop.
Okay. So is anybody in the audience that would like to give their testimony regarding ordinance 1518, Transportation Benefit District Ordinance, first reading?
Could you explain that what it means to me? I mean, what does it mean to, I mean, you give a big, long ordinance number, it don't mean crap to 90% of it. When I was given presentations, I was told to speak to people and express to them on an 8th to 10th grade level through good communication. I taught communications where I was thinking.
Mr. Boyce, can you?
Sure, I can give an overview. So the city has a transportation benefit district. Several times I went to the voters to try to fund that district, and it was rejected. The state changed the law this year. In the past, the city went out and asked the voters if they would approve 0.2% on sales tax to fund the district, which would have produced around $260-some thousand annually. That was the estimate.
What was this fund, what was this money supposed to be put to, you know?
Road repair and maintenance, and it could be used to offset, you know, as grant matches and whatnot.
So it's earmarked just for transportation issues,
Right.
and that is it.
Well, if it happens, that's fine, but so many times, I've heard so many complaints, people say, well, they say they're gonna do this, and then it doesn't happen, so is there something in paper saying, yes, this money will absolutely, no question be put to that account,
Well,
and we can show that it's going there?
State law states that. changed the law to allow city council, as a body, to implement a 1/10 of 1% sales tax increase without needing a ballot measure to go before the people. So the difference is, with this ordinance, city council could, on its own, decide whether or not to impose that sales tax.
So that tax can be imposed without the will of the people, that's just the problem. This is it, you get it, whether you like it or not.
Councilmember Holland?
So, Mr. Boyce,
Yes.
if you would explain what that means for our particular situation with people outside of the county coming into city of Woodland and buying something, and that they would then be paying, you know, the
Exactly.
thing we
So-
talk about over and over again.
So city council has brought this up before when you sent ballot measures to the people. There's another option to fund a transportation benefit district, and that's the tab fee. So when you go to register your vehicle, you pay I believe it's $20 tab fee. That could also go towards it. City council decided not to do that because that would only be the citizens of Woodland who would pay into that. City council in the past, city councils, there's some members on the council now that weren't part of this, went to the voters, and the rationale behind the sales tax was that anyone who buys fuel or buys anything in the city of Woodland would contribute to upkeep of the roads. So that's the idea behind the sales tax. But yes, the legislature changed the law this year. I know the city of Battleground is considering such a proposal. If city council adopted this, it would not preclude city council again in the future at some point, if it so desired, to ask the folks for another 0.2%. And the 0.1%, if city council were to approve this tonight, would be for a term of 10 years, and then it would expire. I believe the law allows cities to renew that at that time, but it would take a separate city council action to do so.
What would it change? So we're what, 7.9% sales tax right now?
Right.
What would it make our sales tax?
It would make it 8%.
Where would that put us as
And
far as?
we believe it would generate, I think that's the question coming, in the neighborhood of 130,000 annually.
What would that put us as far as surrounding cities, our tax rate compared to other cities?
I haven't done that research. Other cities have funded transportation benefit districts. I don't have that information this evening.
From what I've looked up, City of Woodland is, or this area is one of the lowest in the state. Yes, Councilmember Burke.
A lot of the other cities are running between 84 and 86, but they have more to offer. Like they have busing service, they have all kinds of things, and that's why you can raise it a little higher, a percentage to different things. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
And I
Councilmember
believe
Dowdy.
Compare it to.
I believe it's my understanding that this is the stuff that we can do to fix existing roads, where what we voted on for the other was, it can only be new projects. So the concern of new builds and stuff like that can only be for new roads, where this can help our existing problems. Am I correct in that?
So the transportation impact fee that we talked about before, yes, that is for new road development or expansion of infrastructure.
Okay.
This money would be used for maintenance of current infrastructure.
Including fixing some of our problems with new developments and congestion? Or is it just like repairs like potholes?
Well, arguably, it could free up money for grant match. this money needs to be used for maintenance. But arguably, it could offset, some funds that are currently being used for maintenance to, to work for a grant match, that would, we're searching for money for Exit 21, for instance. So some of that money that isn't being used for maintenance could be used for grant match.
Okay.
So one of the things that leaves me with heartache is we did just vote to eliminate it for commercial and industrial. It definitely leaves me heartache there. But as far as bang for your buck for city residents, 0.1% for a city resident to pay will gain them 4 to 1 by every single person who passes through this city. It is a small cost for a city resident to put out there to gain a bigger buck back for every single person who stops at a fast food place, who stops at the gas station and buys a soda, who goes into Walmart, who goes into Safeway. This is a bigger impact for the city because it is now hitting every vehicle that comes into the city. So,
Not just the city people.
it definitely leaves me with heartache to say, no, we're gonna give you a pass for 2 years here, but 2 years is a small window to try to develop some sort of commercial. And the only reason why I did that is because I have a fear that the economy is dropping, and I'm trying to incentivize Woodland as a place to bring businesses. So I think the gain for the dollar is better for us.
I did say something.
Sorry, I had my back to you.
It's okay.
Councilmember Holland. Just nudge me.
So,
I do it all the time.
so former council member Fredericks like to remind everybody when this conversation would come up that I wrote the against statement the first time in the voters pamphlet for the Transportation Benefit District, and gave me way too much credit on why this has never been passed, because ultimately I'm apparently a wordsmith. But if anybody actually read what I wrote for the voters pamphlet, what I said then is that the 6-year transportation plan that the city had were grandiose projects that the city would never have money for. So it would take a decade of 0.1% or whatever it was going to be to acquire that money to do any of the things that they were wanting to do. Because I have lived here my whole life, and our roads did not become this during this administration. This is decades of poor management, of ignoring roads, of our utilities not being charged what it actually costs to run. The people who complain the loudest on social media don't live inside city limits. Me personally, I'm tired of everything being on the backs of the handful of us that actually pay city taxes. We, this little group inside city limits, actually pay for everything. The people outside city limits don't have to pay for anything. They may pay to the county, but the county doesn't kick back to us. So over time, over the last couple times this has been in the voters pamphlet and put before the people, since then, our public works director, Ms. Coleman, has created a comprehensive plan of attack of things. How many? 50 some odd projects, I think you outlined a while back on things that need addressed in this town. This is the first time in all the meetings I have sat through for years and years that somebody actually has a plan and identified every single road in this town that needs work. And so we're gonna have a pissing contest over a penny it's really what, that's a penny, isn't .1 whatever, it's gonna be a.
It's a 1/10 of a penny.
1/10 of a penny. We're going to have a conniption fit over 1/10 of a penny that every single person that comes from Kalama, Longview, Portland, that goes up to Merwin and has to stop at the Safeway and get food and everything, or whatever they're buying, you know, beer, I'm sure people get taxed on alcohol, I don't know. But then all these people who drive on our roads to get outside of city limits to go recreate during the summer will then be paying to fix the roads that they help damage, right? I mean, so 1/10 of a penny. And I'm literally the person who was 100% against this. And the reason I was 100% against it is because no one here in the city had a clue of what they would do with that money, except that it would take years and years and years to pull off one stinking project. Back then, I think the 6-year transportation plan had like 4 projects, maybe, back then. I think maybe 4 projects. Now there's a gajillion different projects that need addressed in our town. So the difference is, different public works director, different administration, people who didn't really have an idea. Now we have a plan, we've addressed all these things, and all we're asking is for people not to like burn us at the stake over 1/10 of a penny. So, I mean, literally, I'm the person who wrote the thingy, so I figured I could actually speak on this, but, and that's just because Councilmember Fredericks used to, every single time it came before us, would make sure everyone remembered that I'm the one that caused all of this, and I had literally not that much to do with it. It was the people. But all we're asking as citizens of Woodland inside city limits is that everybody who comes through our town and buys something pays in for that little bit of use to our roads that they have, right? Isn't that what this is? That's all this is. And we literally could jack up everybody's tabs $20. Just, we don't even need anybody's okay. We could literally do it. Now that would really make people mad. So this is literally 1/10 of a penny. And I feel really dumb that I've had to take up 15 minutes of everybody's life to say that about 1/10 of a penny, but there you go.
Thank you, Councilmember Holland. Is there anybody else that has any questions? Audience?
Did I understand that
What was
1%
that?
of the tax, that 1/10 of 1%, would go to repair just current roads, current problems, right? Or did I understand that part of that might be diverted to build new roads for development, or no?
I'll refer to Councilmember Boyce.
So the money collected has to go towards road maintenance. So that, what I was saying before is that there's other tax funds like gas tax money and property tax that we funnel into the street fund. And if council could make the choice that some of that money could go to offset a grant match
attention and a focus on the people, not your biases or issues, or not the government or developers or whatever, but just satisfying the people. Trying to satisfy. You're not gonna make people happy all the time, but you can answer to them and you can communicate with them and you can have a lot better cooperation. Right now, they're really unhappy, and I think you all know that. And I don't know if you brought it on yourself or if someone allowed the development to come in without infrastructure, but it's really stupid. You don't build a barn out in the woods somewhere and then decide you're gonna put a road and a fence into it. Excuse me, guys, I bothered you, I apologize, but I'm old and I just hear what a lot of people have to say, and there's nobody here to say it. What the hell's the matter with the citizens of this town?
Thank you for your time, and I do appreciate you coming in. To read it on Facebook, it is nice to have somebody in here. So
Well, it's kind of sad, because the whole community of people are unhappy and are not saying anything.
Thank you.
thank you for your time.
Thank you, and just, as a manager, just stay the course and listen to the people. I mean, it's not your position to say, I wanna do this because it's good for our community, or, you gotta go to the people. They're the ones that are paying your wages and elect you.
Yeah.
Not that you're probably overpaid or anything.
Thank you. It looks like, did Whitney raise her hand again, or did that not get put down? Ms. Rabb, did you want to say something?
Well, I've made a few comments, but my problem isn't supporting helping pay for the road. My problem is that we just turned down money as a city council by voting to do the moratorium for 2 years for any new commercial or industrial buildings, and we know that the port has signed on more people, so we will lose money. And if they aren't paying for the new roads, then that money that's gonna be in the transportation benefit district, or is in the street fund, is gonna have to come from there, when it could be using to fix the existing roads, and the businesses that are creating new businesses in town, not using existing structures, should be paying for their part of it. It doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Ms. Rabb. Councilmember Dowdy.
Mr. Ab, I'd just like to address that I had those same questions, and it was really well explained to me that from even some businesses that are coming already to the area, that just because that fund, we turn that down, they are still paying for updates to the area surrounding it. Like they are already providing sidewalks. Some are even extending turning lanes. They're doing road construction as part of their contract without paying those fees. And the fees that they would be paying are only good for new problems, and the tax is for existing. And so there's a difference in the two. But I had a lot of the same questions and a lot of the same concerns, and over several weeks I did some research and investigation. So I just wanted to make sure that you have an understanding of the difference between the two, because it is, and the likelihood of a business starting right now saying they want to come, they'd be hard pressed to get started in the 2 years, that this is just enticing to get them here. So.
Thank you, Councilmember Dowdy, and I definitely have heard the same stuff about even specifically Belmont and how much they are going to be putting towards some road improvements over there. I'm not sure specific details, and but they are definitely developers are definitely putting money into road improvements around the projects that they are doing. But what you've said is not being unheard on me. And it definitely, like I said, it's left me with some heartache. Councilmember Chapman?
Mr. Goddard, can you clarify for me, the port is outside city limits, So all the developing and stuff they're doing, there is no impact fees we get from any of that for, right?
So that's true for the Austin Point area, but the port does have substantial holdings within the city. Sherman Way and the Port Way
That part we get, but just,
on Sherman is in the
Yes.
city. Plus there's some Guile Road, and they're looking at some properties south of Guile Road, and west of Pekin, where they have holdings. They do have substantial holdings in the city.
so then how will this moratorium or holiday affect them? And then,
So, the average commercial and industrial project might pay somewhere between $1,500 and maybe typically $7,500, sometimes up to maybe $30,000 in impact fees. But it has to be a pretty big project to actually generate a significant amount of impact fee relief. So I wanna say, Atlas Plumbing, if you're familiar with that big building that they're building on the corner of Guile and Pekin, I wanna say their impact fee is about $7,500.
So not a heck of a lot.
Not a heck of a
Not a
lot. For the typical project. Now, there are other projects like the AMPM at the corner, I wanna say they paid something like 17 to 19,000 because AMPMs trigger a lot of traffic
Yeah.
intersections. But we don't have anything like that that has been approved, that we're waiting for them to construct.
thank you for clarifying that.
All right. Ms. Rabb, do you have anything further?
I do, because everybody says, oh, $7,500, that's not a lot, but that's one business. And if the AMPM was 17,000, those two businesses together, that's 10% of that 0.1% that you wanna do for the transportation district funding. So to sit there and laugh about it and say, well, it's not that much money, it is money. And all of it adds up. If you lose the same amount that you would be getting in your transportation district potentially, what have we done? So we've lost money, and there's things that the impact fees go for that aren't in those contracts. That's why there is an impact fee in the first place. I realize everything that Councilman Dowdy already said. Part of what she said was what I had already just stated. But as a taxpayer, it's really crappy to go, oh, you know, we want businesses so much, we're not gonna make them pay their fair share. That's like saying, oh, we want residents so much, we're not gonna have them pay the school impact fees because we want more residents. We need the roads, we need the improvements. There's so many places that even on the old roads in town, that there's not even still sidewalks yet from developments that were in the 60s. And yet we're sitting there saying, we need these businesses so badly, we're not gonna have you pay the traffic impact fees.
Thank you, Ms. Rabb. Ms. Dowdy?
And that's what gets citizens really pissed off, is because you look at the businesses and say, oh, we're gonna let you pass, we're gonna put it on somebody else.
Thank you, Ms. Rabb.
The new businesses are required to put in sidewalks in front of their businesses, for any new projects. And the impact fees that, or the ones for business are not for developments of homes. It is just for business and commercial developments.
And I know the city
then-
is
Oh,
constantly going after grants for sidewalks. I think Gun Club is getting sidewalks put down at, that project is currently, as we speak.
I was just using that as an example.
Okay. Any more, any further comments? Okay. I think we can show this public hearing officially closed at 7:44. We can move on to opening public hearing for Resolution 746, adoption of the TIP 2023 to 2028. Is that right? And we can show that starting at 7:44. Do I have any comments from the audience? All right, any council members?
Can I just point out, this is the thing that needs fixed, right? These are the roads. There's a pretty map showing all the roads in our town that need fixed, directly under that link. So this one, take a gander, whoever's sitting at home and whatever. Look at that. These are all the roads that need help. And that's what the other thing was talking about getting funding for. So I just kind of want to put that out there, that there's like a gajillion, and I know that's the worst word, but
The 503 bypass?
that's a gajillion. There's a gajillion projects that need help. So,
Do we have any presentation on this, or is this, no? Okay.
Those basically what's on that, which we've explained in multiple council meetings, are basic ideas and concepts that we have to make traffic flow better within the city. And ones that we know that there's some good grant opportunities for instance, Exit 21. So those roads that are there are the ones that we got for grants for. We use our transportation to pack these on. But also if we have some maintenance dollars, for instance, Lakeshore Avenue, we received a grant for Lakeshore Avenue, and you know, you can't go out for a grant without it being on the tip. So we had one of the grants pulled from us because well, I wouldn't say it was pulled fully yet, but one of the grants was pulled back partially because of the way it was presented on the tip. And we're trying to get clarification on how they want that updated. But this is a very important aspect of being able to get funding, federal funding, state funding, any type of grant funding, is you have to put it on this map. The other roads that are on there that are not marked are ones that we have slated as part of our road study for maintenance that we're going to put in order of deterioration. Start on those first with our regular dollars that we have in our road fund. So, a little bit at a time, we'll chip away a little bit at a time, so, anyway.
You're chipping away years of neglect.
Since 05 was the last time that a road study had been done in Woodland.
Which makes it a challenge to fund all of it at once.
It does make it a challenge.
And this is required to even have any opportunity at grants,
Correct.
is what you were saying? And
Correct.
we're required by law to do a tip,
Update it every year.
to do an updated tip every year.
Yep. And, Councilmember Holland stated it correctly that when she first came here and Travis and I were here, there were 4 projects on there. Now we have 50-some on there, so, moving and shaking, dreaming, but you just go for what you can based on what you can put out there and what you see happening in the city.
And I think we talked about it at the meeting today, that we have a better chance at getting some grants if we actually have shovel-ready projects ready to go, which we do.
We have a couple in our back pocket.
So,
Or at the end of the year when people say, hey, so-and-so couldn't spend their grant money, does anybody out there have a shovel-ready project? We're ready to go and say, here we are, here it is. So we try to have a couple of those in our back pocket for when that funding becomes available, because it does every once in a while. So,
or when it gets pulled.
correct, yeah.
Does anybody else have any comments regarding ordinance 746, adoption of the tip? Seeing none, I think we can close the public hearing at 7:49. And at this point, we can move on to the workshop. Is there there anything I need to do special for that, Pete, or just move on to the workshop? Okay.
Travis will
So move on to the workshop. Ordinance 1516, wheeled all-terrain vehicle ordinance, first reading. Do we have any information on that or presentation or anything?
So this item was, given to staff by the council to review in response to citizen outreach, and, went to the planning commission. The planning commission recommended approval of the ordinance, as drafted. Staff did a little bit of reorganization to make it a little more readable, and it was brought to our attention that there's actually one mistake in the ordinance. It's section WMC 1035-090A2, and it mistakenly says Bozard to Scott Avenue, when it actually should say Gorig to Scott Avenue. And the ordinance specifically says where these vehicles are not allowed, and they are not allowed on I-5, which includes portions of Atlantic and Pacific, which are in the I-5 right-of-way, and they're actually considered on-ramps and off-ramps to Interstate 5. And so, the ordinances would not allow these vehicles on portions of Atlantic and Pacific. And so that was a typo. It says Bozard instead of Gorig. So technically Bozard is on the wrong side of the highway, and it's on the Pacific side, not on the Atlantic side. So if you're going to take a motion on this, I would hope that you make that one correction.
How would you get from the east side to the west side?
So you can go through the exits, so you can cross, 32 and, or I'm sorry, 22 and 21. But what you can't do is you can't use the on-ramps and the off-ramps of I-5, which is why Atlantic and Pacific have very limited use for WMTs.
Okay.
So it can't get to Safeway.
You can, through the back way.
Yeah, you get,
Yeah.
that's what I was
So you
wondering.
get to Safeway by coming
Oh,
up the back streets.
yes, got it, okay.
You just can't go past McDonald's and Starbucks and
Okay,
Toads.
okay.
You can do it backwards.
Oh, Councilmember Holland.
I have a question. So how, looking at this map, connecting roads don't connect on this. So like, not all of a road can have an ATV. Like in my neighborhood, I'm looking, and so like where I live, the two houses, or three houses, I guess, at the end of my street, no, they can't go there. They can go around the block and then go out on Lewis River Road and then kind of go over to another neighborhood. So I'm just wondering how this was determined, this map.
So that was not the intention. If you wanna bring that to us for clarification, we will,
Because it looks like if there's a cul-de-sac or anything, like it stops before it gets to the end of the cul-de-sac.
yeah, that was not the intention.
So to me, I just of course went to my neighborhood to go, okay, what Yahoo's gonna be blazing around my neighborhood? And then it just stops, so I guess
I think.
I'm good, cause I'm at the end of a cul-de-sac.
I think technically the only roads that, where this is not permitted is I-5. I think everything else in the city falls under the permitted.
Is that everything in the purple?
Yes.
Okay.
So to be honest, now that I think about it, maybe we should have done a map where they are prohibited. Cause that would make it a lot less
Cleaner.
lines on the
Yeah.
map. And if you make the motion for me to bring that back to you at the next meeting, I can have that prepared for you. I can bring you several options of the map for your second reading.
Okay.
Make sure it's black and white, like also.
If it's on paper, we don't print color.
Can you make that motion now?
No, you
Now
can't do
we're
it in
in
a
a
workshop.
you
Yeah.
can't.
Okay. Any further questions regarding ordinance 1516?
Just clarification, we're changing the wording from Bozarth to Gorig.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Cause that would be essentially from
So if somebody makes a motion, it needs to include that?
When it comes to the action item on the agenda.
Yes. Okay. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, can move on to ordinance 1517, special event permit standards, first reading.
So this was also requested by the council, to go, for staff to review. It was determined that the city has a history of processing special use permits. And it was determined that there's actually no code that supported or laid out an approval process or a review process for those. So we visited several local communities with similar process type, and the planning commission recommended approval of the code that's in your packet. And again, it was in different order, but we changed it to be more of a process section, a qualification and definition section, and then the expectations for approval standards, safety, signage, traffic plan, security plan. Those are the conditions that would be attached to the code. But it essentially gives us the legal authority to review the types of permits that were previously reviewed informally by the council.
Any further questions or comments by council? Seeing none. Can close out of the workshop and move on to reports of city council. Do you have any reports of the city council?
I did, well, there's a AWC, but I did go to the AWC conference. A lot of information picked up, a lot of good classes. I'd recommend next time go. Always got some good information.
Thank you, Councilmember Burke. Any other reports of council? Seeing none?
I already told you I too went to the thing, the AWC thing. I told you before the meeting. So, no, it was actually, so one of the things I had an opportunity to do was, and I keep talking about it, so I'm sorry for the people here that have heard me say it already, but I took a walking tour with the port director and a community development director of Vancouver. And we walked through the waterfront, and it was explained kind of how the partnership between the port and the city and some private entities, how they've kind of revitalized the waterfront, which was really interesting, and I had not had an opportunity to go down there. And it was a nice day, so it was good to not be at work and to go out and enjoy the Columbia River. One of the other things I did was a bus tour with the Vancouver mayor, and went and looked at alternative housing options that they did with their Prop 1 funding, which is to create housing for unsheltered individuals. So they've taken a old C-Tran property and turned it into a safe park. And it was the cleanest, nicest facility. I've been to campgrounds that were not this clean and orderly, so that was really neat to see, and kind of how they've taken an approach to housing individuals, which that's always interesting to me. And then there was a fun one, how cities can use social media and not get sued. That was a good one. But yeah, so other than that, and we had a wonderful 4th. I noticed in my neighborhood that people were obeying the fireworks laws, so that was kind of nice. So I didn't have 7 full days of things being blown up, so I don't know, that was kind of cool. So that's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Holland. Councilmember Burke.
And a nice sign, the new nice sign going into the city, of US.
So say bless.
Very nice.
It's
What does it say? Bless the U.S.?
It's
Yeah.
neat, huh?
Tree City.
City?
No,
it's
the
one
the
that
banner,
says,
like, blessed.
banner.
Oh, yeah, the Bless America.
Bless America.
Bless the
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah.
Bless USA.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Almost as good as our Christmas decorations.
I remember when you used to have pictures and show stuff. I miss those
That
days.
hint?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I moved into my new office, so be prepared.
Okay.
PowerPoint's back.
If you like to get out of council meetings early, that would delay it for about 45 minutes.
We got 30 minutes here, guys. Okay. Okay. No more reports of council. Move on to reports of standing committee. Public safety. Did you guys meet today?
No, we did not meet, so we will meet, on 8/1 at 5:30 PM. Our chief was on vacation, so.
All right. And Public Works, that would be me. I'm not going to have Mayor Finn cut me off tonight. So that'll be nice. So we met tonight at 5:30, and our next meeting will be 8/1 at 5:30. Just want to get that out of the way before I forget. So the filter restoration project is startup went good. They're waiting on a gasket to complete it. It's about 95% complete, and once the gasket gets here, it will be complete. Correct. The waste lagoons were cleaned out in June by Jacob Environmental. The hydrants are getting cleaned and painted by Summer Help. They're about 25% complete, maybe more. I'm not sure. Let's see. West Scott Railroad crossing should hopefully be open by June 18th. Davidson Water Railroad crossing is complete.
June 18th or July 18th?
July 18th? Yeah. Did I say June?
Yeah.
We've
I missed that part.
we've moved on from June. So. Lift stations. So they are going to build permanent shades over the lift station control cabinets. If you drive around the city, you'll see that there's some quick shades to try to keep those cooler so that they can have less issues. So it sounds like they're going to be building some permanent shades over the next couple months. It won't include every lift station, but just the ones that they have issues with, I think. Is that correct? Okay. So it'll be better than blue quick shades. So they did seal coat the police parking lot, and the back lot at the station has been completed. Public Works has moved out of City Hall to their new facility next door last week. Stop in and say hi. The new gazebo has been constructed. I seen it for the first time during the Planters Days, and that thing is really nice compared to what was there. It looks really good. And all of the buildings have been painted down in the park area. Is that right? Okay. I think the only thing I had left was we've applied for a couple new grants, and we're just waiting for some info back on those grants. I think that was it. Is that right? Okay.
I would like to add one thing in regards, if it's possible, in regards to the all-terrain, it wasn't all-terrain vehicle, golf cart or ordinance. Is that mentioned tonight?
No, no.
Okay, never mind, I won't mention it now. I'll wait till next council meeting.
Don't ruin it.
It's okay.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I just remember something I wanted to ask Public Works. Supposedly when the fire department donated some money for the toys in the park, they were supposed to have a sign put out there in the ground, donated by the, Planters Day event or whatever. Has that ever been done?
I'm not sure what we're talking about, if we're talking about a playground structure or what, because I wasn't here during that donation period, but if somebody could bring it to my attention, the fire department who did that, and I could research it, if it wasn't done, I can make sure it does happen.
Yeah, it was the fireman that bought the stuff, and then you
Why
guys
do you
put
know
it.
what that stuff is?
The toys down there for the kids, the
What
playground.
part
Play
of what?
structure.
In the main, where the gazebo is.
Oh, okay, the play structure where she
Yeah,
lives.
okay, you know.
I could look at that. I don't know if
The
there is
one that was listed as donated anonymously?
No, it was
The
donated
new- the
by the
newest
fire
one?
department, after the Apprentice Day event, with the money they earned.
What year?
I think 3-4 years ago. I wonder if
So,
Chief Reed knows on that one.
I don't, I'm gonna send a text out to some people
Oh,
who
okay.
probably would, and see if they answer.
yeah, so I've been here for 4.5 and there hasn't been anything donated since I've been here.
So you're looking for like a plaque to
Yeah, they were looking.
thank
at
them
it.
for donating it, is that what?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's supposed to be a plaque put in the ground, says this stuff was donated.
okay.
Yeah. We could do that whenever I think aware of what it is.
Okay.
Yep.
It might be.
Yep.
Okay, there's somebody, one of them asked me. So.
Okay. Reports of advisory committees. Cowlitz Wahkiakum Council of Governments.
That's
That
the
would be
mayor.
That would be the mayor.
Mayor Finn, so he's not here tonight. We will move on from that one. AWC legislative.
We don't
Be-
actually have any one person
think-
that's dedicated to
Mayor
that
Finn
anymore.
had been reporting on that
Yeah.
when
That's you
items
again.
come up, but not that often.
Gotcha.
We're just gonna skip over all the ones that are, don't have anybody on there.
Downtown.
Downtown revitalization.
So we are going to be having a meeting, I'll make an announcement at the next meeting, and that's gonna be, now that everything's kind of gone down, we're gonna start that back up again.
Okay. All right, reports of city officers. Mayor's not here, so we'll move on to city administrator.
Alright,
Mr.
so
Boyce.
I know we have a lot on the agenda, so I'm just gonna keep it brief with the upcoming events, Hot Summer Nights, July 8th and 15th, with movies in the park, so we encourage everyone to attend. We're starting up the budgeting process, so that's going forward. We're researching right now whether the city council during the retreat indicated it might be open to a biennial budgeting process. We're looking at what that would take this year and if we can incorporate that or not, so we'll keep council apprised. But tonight, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, so if anyone has questions, let me know.
Any questions? Okay, move on to city attorney.
No, sir.
I want something tonight. No, I'm kidding. I already scratched you off and put fire report from Chief Noor.
Just a few things, it's good to get back to Planners Days this year, so participated in the parade, myself and one of our units from the Woodland Station. And then our firefighter association, did the sandwich feed, at the building in the park, and that was really well received again this year. We got 14 quarters of beef donated from Walt's Meats, and I think 35 flats of buns are donated from Burgerville, and then the Safeway gives us a very good deal on the soda pops. Those are sold, everything's sold as a sandwich and a drink, and the money goes to the association. And that's a 501c3. They give money scholarships to kids for who want to go into fire or EMS or things of that nature, and some other. At Christmas time, they give needy families in all the communities that we serve. So it was really good to be back at the Planners Day this year. Yesterday was July 4th, and it is traditionally the busiest day of the year for fire departments across the United States, and yesterday was no different. It was an extremely busy day. There were areas around Cowlitz County as well as southern Clark County got hit a lot harder than us. We had about a dozen grass fires, 3 of them over here, but 1 on Meadowwood Loop and 2 at Horseshoe Lake Park that didn't cause significant damage or anything. And that dozen fires throughout the district yesterday between 8 p.m. and midnight. But we got through without any large losses, so that was good. We did place a new ladder truck in service at our station in Ridgefield, and last week, and it's a pretty significant association, so it was that same association that gathered money by selling the sandwiches, donated between $12,000 and $15,000. He doesn't remember exactly when. And he says, I don't ever remember a plaque being put up there. So we can check into that and see what that's about. I'll try and get you some better dates as to when that happened. Any questions for the fire district? Anything going on? We continue to try and get information out about the EMS levy that's coming up on the August 2nd ballot. The EMS levy would provide additional personnel to be hired, so every grade would have 3 people on it every day instead of 2. That helps us with insurance ratings, and it also helps us during fire rescues. But the biggest part is it guarantees a paramedic on every grade, every day at every station. We're having a tremendous number of difficulties getting ambulances from the private contract provider. Here I have a long list, and right at the end, one of the crews sent it to me, so I hand wrote one from just earlier today where somebody waited 28 minutes for an ambulance. They were having cardiac issue, atrial fibrillation, which can lead to throwing clots and strokes and things of that nature. And after 28 minutes, they said, I'll drive myself to the hospital. That was against medical advice, but AMR never came. This continues to be the case with us. The EMS levy we will staff an ambulance. I've recalculated some of the money, and originally I said we do it 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. We will be able to do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in critical patients anywhere in the district. We will transport if AMR isn't able to respond in a timely manner. So we have community meetings on July 7th, this Thursday, July 14th, the following Thursday. This Thursday is at Fire Station 21 in Richfield off 65th. The 14th will be at our Dollars Corner Station, the 21st back in Richfield. And after I'd set those dates, Chief Jackson told me that it was possible we could probably get this room, or I don't know who I talked to, but there's really no community meeting spaces in town here to hold an event like that. So if we could get this room for a community event, I'd like to hold one at Heritage Woodland also for community members of Angelo.
Just contact me.
Yeah, the community center too.
Okay. So that's about all I have to report on tonight. Any questions?
Real quick question. So you said 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What is right now? You use private right now?
It's all private. It comes from American Medical Response. They're required to respond to the district here in 20 minutes or less, 90% of the time. But all of the folks that use them, so for example, yesterday, they were at level 0. They call level 0. They have no ambulances to go. And they were at level 0 for a considerable amount of time yesterday. In fact, our neighbors at Cowlitz Fire District 1, which is the Bottoms and up the River Road, they have an aid car. And one of the folks that's a captain with us is also a volunteer with them. He says the first time in 10 years they had to transport somebody in the aid car to the hospital because usually AMR, this area is covered by AMR Clark. And if AMR Clark is out of ambulances, AMR Cowlitz will send an ambulance from Longview. Neither one was able to send an ambulance. So we do hold, CCFR holds an ambulance license. We just chose to go with the private provider. It was the most cost-effective thing at the time, but our demographics, we've grown up throughout the district. We're busier, and they're just not meeting the contract. And there is fine money if they exceed the contract several months in a row. We can collect fine money for that, but it really doesn't help. Getting a
The
fine,
patients,
$10,000 in the bank doesn't help somebody who's having a medical emergency at the time that needs to go to the hospital.
And so this would put an ambulance at every station?
No, I'm sorry. We would staff one ambulance in the district that would only deal with the district.
And still use the private sector
Yes,
as
and
well?
still use private
Okay.
for low priority calls, or if they're making them in their response times. But every day we're at level 0, what we call level 0 county. It's a significant issue. It's not just affecting CCFR; it's affecting all of the entities around us also. But some entities run their own ambulance. Kalama Fire District 5 runs their own ambulance. Cowlitz 2 runs their own ambulance. Kelso and the surrounding areas. In Clark County, Camas and Washington will both run their own ambulance.
And where would that ambulance be stationed at?
So right now, it would probably go to Ridgefield Station because we don't have the capacity next door to add a crew in. But when we have the capacity next door, one of the things I do is analyze so when we're able to finish off this station and have a crew quarters as part of the station.
Okay.
One of the things I want to analyze is where is the longest wait time for the ambulances? Where's the best place to have it?
So it could potentially move here.
It potentially could.
Okay.
yes.
Chief Nor, when you said, when the trucks roll, they're rolling with two, so now you say we roll with three, so each truck, when they roll, will have a paramedic with them?
Yes.
Okay.
So we do have
Yeah.
paramedics, and we are staffed with paramedics about 56% of the time. But we don't have enough paramedics to have it,
One per
100%
truck.
of the time. And so by hiring, the additional, it not only bumps the rigs to 3 per day, it also allows every rig to have a paramedic every day. I need to be more clear about that. Not every single rig, because some days, for example, yesterday, we hired an extra crew on yesterday, paid 2 gentlemen overtime or 2 firefighters overtime, for the day, but neither one was a paramedic. So, but every station would have at least one rig coming out that has a paramedic every day. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And a lot of times when I say day in the fire department, it's not the same as like a lot of us work weekdays. We work 24-hour days. And every year I pick up about a half dozen 24-hour days. We don't have anybody covered. Yesterday was one of my days. So it was
I was gonna say on the fourth, Chief?
if you see me back here, like, what's going on with it? Is he okay? I'm tired. But yes, and at our website, ccfr.org, and right at the top of the page, EMS levy information, you can click on that. And it has a video. We did a little video that shows the difference between how quickly a lot of emergency care can happen with a 2-person company and with a 3-person company.
Any further questions?
I do have a question. You talked about some fires at Horseshoe Lake. We noticed that one of our pine trees was severely burned. Was that something that you guys put out?
I will ask. I'll check the record.
And when you put those out, do you gather information from the person who started the fire?
So the short answer to that is yes, except for 1 day a year. And
That was yesterday.
that was yesterday because part of it is we don't want to get shot at with fireworks, and most people love us, but some people don't. Hey, wouldn't it be cool to shoot a bottle rocket at the fire engine or something like that? So we get in, take care of business, and get back out. And most of the time, nobody's gonna say it was us. But, one of the fires up Meadowood Loop caught a person's tree on fire, but then caught the neighbor's gutter. And so the crews got up there, cleaned everything out, cleaned the gutters, pulled up the shingles. We look at what's called a thermal imaging camera to make sure there's no heat anywhere in the structure. It burned, it scorched the metal of the gutter, did not melt any of the siding or damage the siding. But if it was a random day, any other day, and it's in a tree burn, we'd be calling the investigator, hey, what happened here? Because there shouldn't be any hostile fires on any other day, but with all of the things going off last night, it'd be really hard to determine. There were so many things going on at Horseshoe Park, it'd probably be hard to determine whose fireworks were there.
Yeah.
The good side is, all that smoke laid down the mosquitoes for a while. So, for about 2 hours, we're getting mosquito bites. For the rest of the day, I am torn up from yesterday, just being out with that.
I'll bring that up next week. Just gives it this year.
Any further questions for Chief Nor? Seeing none, I would go home if I was you. I don't think you.
Thank you.
Home rest, Chief.
All right. Oh, so clerk treasurer report.
I have no report.
Have no one. Chief is not here. Community development report. Mr. Goddard.
The planning commission has a public hearing on July 21st, that's Thursday, July 21st. And right now, there are 2 items on the agenda. We were asked to take a look at the golf cart ordinance. And the other is we are looking at a 2022 batch for retooling our code. So if you can think of anything in the code, whether it's misspellings to small fixes, we're trying to sweep up all the little stuff and try and
have one of those things, what do I do? Just email you?
Just email it to me and I'll put it on the list and we'll make quick fixes as best we can.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Goddard. Public Works?
I just wanted to add that on this Friday at Hot Summer Nights, it is military night, vehicle night, so we'll have all the military vehicles down there as well. So just, if you pick a night to come, that would be a good night to come.
Is that Dennis?
It's Friday.
Is
Dennis-
it gonna be Dennis?
Dennis and the
Yeah.
gang.
Nice.
We're showing crudes or movie kind of, you can, called cruise.
Oh, yeah.
New age of crudes.
So it's gonna be Friday,
Dinosaur.
Friday night,
Friday
Friday
night.
so all the mosquitoes will be out there.
Yes. Lights, park, everything related. Never thought of the positive side of that.
I cannot advocate for fireworks on anyone.
Oh, okay.
Just burn the grass.
New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Just burn the grass that night. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ms. Coleman. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, seeing none. We'll move on to the consent items.
Move to approve the consent items.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Burke, seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Thank you. It's a long night. Ms. Anderson, you take the roll.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Consent items are approved. Move on to action items.
Do you wanna take a break maybe?
Let's take a break. That sounds great. So take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah.
Is that enough or 7
Perfect.
minutes?
No, five's good.
5 minutes. So we will reconvene
We
at
don't usually go this long this time of
8:27.
year.
Yeah, this,
27.
yeah, we
Yeah,
got
I
you,
couldn't hold it.
look how long we usually out of here.
We got 8 minutes to get through this. Okay. I
Oh,
said
that's
8:30.
right.
It's gonna take long.
8:30.
I know, I couldn't wait for break. I was like, I gotta go.
I am exhausted after last night.
My neighbors were so
The
good.
fireworks were way too bad last night. I'm not a fan of the fireworks last night. And
Bunch going off over by your road. Those are big.
my house is shaking. My cars are covered and they look like they're all rusted now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
It was like flashbangs lit up behind me, in front of me. My dog was barking for hours on end. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. That's what I told my neighbor. I said, council meeting's tomorrow. I'm gonna make a motion to ban all fireworks in the city.
You know,
She's like, you will make the paper. I was like, I will make the paper. I will with the chat.
you know though, Monty,
Paper. I will be hated.
we have lived here for 5 years. This is our 5th 4th of July here. Every year a cul-de-sac does big. Last couple of years, it's been fun. First year was amazing. It was a great welcome, it was awesome. Every year is different, but this year was just different. Like, it was like mortars and like, my daughter went out front and she goes, Mom, it literally like moved us. Like, they were way insane, and then they didn't clean up.
My cars were covered. I'm so irritated the next day. I get it. I get the fun.
I don't mind it.
But
Hours
it's
of
a
it.
lot.
And then they left and went to the neighbors behind us. So we had 3 hours of them, and then an hour or 2 of them. I was like, I'm over this tonight. I just want to not.
No, like after last night, Alicia and I, we were like, okay, because we haven't been in town for the fort since we've lived here. This is the first time we've been in
Oh,
town for
you
the
saw a
fort.
whole different side of our
And
neighborhood.
so I was like, we both are like, yeah, no, I'm never coming back to the fort.
And if it wasn't for my dogs, it may have been enjoyable. But I don't even think it would have been enjoyable without my dogs last night.
They were setting off fireworks in our cul-de-sac, and like I said, I'm not anti, but my boy wanted to just get me down there. And finally, I mean, he's 7. I'm like, no, get your ass up to the porch. I'm like, you're not going down there. And he's getting upset, crying, and I finally drug him in, and I was like, let's go, bud. It's a little show and tell, some picture time about why you don't want to. I'm like, this kid right here missing an eye. This kid right here doesn't have a hand. I'm like, no, this is why.
And did he
you
understand
stay
after that?
here. Oh, it stopped it completely. No more arguing about wanting to go down. I'm like, no. I'm like, I am here as your parent to protect you. And that is what I'm doing right
Well,
now.
in my club set, they were letting all the kids light them. And I
No.
was like, these are like 2nd or 4th graders.
No way.
I'm like, no!
And they're lighting multiple mortars off, and they're setting the tubes
I
right
think
next
one
to each
even
other.
hit my husband's truck.
And one of them will tip over
I
and
won't tell
just
my
shoot right
husband
towards
that,
you.
'cause I don't think there's damage, but
Yeah.
the first year, or not the first year, a year or two ago, one like this big hit the side of my blue grandma car, and there's a huge dent in the side of my car. Like, I'm not
Who do you go
okay.
after for it?
Trying to figure that out. I think she wants to be nurse.
Yeah, they do the multiple mortars, and then one of those mortar tubes tips over and shoots it right towards you because they're lighting them off at the same time. It's like if you follow the law, the instructions on it, it's fine. But when you start doing all of this stuff, and it's just, oh, it's so.
Yeah, I think they had the illegal ones last night. I
Oh,
don't think they
that
were
definitely
the.
did.
They were not the legit legal in our area ones. I was like,
And like I said, I'm all for fireworks, but gosh, it's
Different people.
and we don't even have a dog anymore because it was worse with the dog.
yeah. I mean, my dog had never had a kennel problem until one 4th of July. He went nuts, and we put him in the kennel, and he bent the entire frame of it, chewed the bottom out of it, and he won't go in a kennel anymore. Yeah, for real. I tried a weighted blanket on him last night. I was like, I can't even listen in. Can't even watch TV. Can't do anything.
Apparently you went camping over the weekend, which is not the mayor's forte. I think he needs LinkedIn coverage.
Gotcha.
You know that guy that was here, like, holy cow. He's not kidding. Minnie definitely likes to hang you out to dry.
Oh, yes, they do.
I'm like, Scott, I can't look at Voice of Woodland or Woodland Community Chat. Like, they're all, we hate city council. City council's crap. I'm like, I'm so tired of reading about it. I'm like, they don't even, they won't volunteer for it. They won't come to a meeting, but they have no
And they
problem
don't
using
know.
social media.
And they don't know.
And they don't know what it
Right.
is.
They don't know what they're talking about.
No, I mean, even with the business one, like, I'm sitting here going, I researched, 'cause I was a no.
Right.
But then you find out it's only good for new construction, new roads. It's only like it doesn't do the same thing as another. But if you don't have the people come and sit and listen to that, they just see that you voted yes. Who cares why you voted yes? But
Yeah.
Be off by yourself.
do not.
Good.
I did enough of that last night. I might have gotten punched.
I was on the other side of the wall, you
Feel
know.
like campers.
What are you drinking?
I hope so.
No. Thank you. So, Mr. Goddard, what name tag was in front of me?
Old Melissa, the old planning assistant.
That was my fault. That was my fault.
You didn't know her name.
Man, you put that in front of me? You act like I'm kidding. Roll
I
into
just saw
the
the, I just saw the A.
Luckily you weren't
I
wrong.
thought it was old
She
Melissa.
sat there and couldn't remember me, and I'm trying to get my daughter a job at the corner store, and she thought of me as Jen Boland.
That's okay. I couldn't remember her name about 13 seconds ago. So.
Just like that guy that said, I've talked to you, I've talked to you. Well, look how I
Yeah,
wrote it.
yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Carter. That's all I need you to do. Just. Okay, you're doing your job. Thank you. So I don't look stupid. I do it for real. Yeah.
I talked to Mr. Burke.
Yeah.
Also, he'll be looking over here. I'll go, man.
You get all nervous, flustered. I just get into this brain lock. Like, oh nope, can't think now. Done.
Okay.
I'm gonna need names on the back of the name tags.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
It should,
It should.
it should be two-faced. So, yeah. it
Because
really
I get
should.
frustrated or flustered
Well,
and trying to think and.
Exactly.
Where did,
We got too much two-faced in politics.
Pete,
Taco Bell.
suggestion? Put the name in the back also, in other words, tape with the name or something.
So that people up here just
Somebody got.
It's more for
labeled
Monty.
that.
He couldn't remember people's names tonight.
Yeah.
So he puts it in the back of their name tags.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can kind of lean back. And then give you a hint, and then you got it.
I had him.
What, so
round
scared
egg
of
and
them?
They were
I was
they were
already
They
disaster
scare my
last
mom.
night.
I got a little chihuahua.
They just they were yeah.
I have litter.
Well, we're a couple minutes late, but we can start back in. It's now 8:29. So we move on to action item E, ordinance 1518, Transportation Benefit District Funding Ordinance.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 1518, Transportation Benefit District Funding Ordinance.
Second.
First reading.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Dowdy.
Councilmember Brown?
Councilmember Rounds, any comment?
Yes. I like the idea that everyone coming through our community is help paying for our roads rather than them using them and not putting anything towards it. So, and it's 1/10 of a penny. And so, I'm gonna vote for it.
On every dollar.
On, yeah.
Councilmember Dowdy?
I agree fully that those outside of city limits need to contribute to maintaining
Right.
our roads, and this is the only way to do it if we're not gonna. Can you not hear me?
No, I couldn't. but-
Hello?
Yeah.
It's on.
Okay,
That's it.
Hear me now.
sorry. Any further comment? And this is for a first reading, correct? Did I say that in the,
Yes.
when I personally did it? I will go then. I agree. It's a very small amount, and like I said, I have heartache that we waived it for 2 years for industrial and commercial, and the very next meeting we are looking at implementing it for a tax for the city. But I also realize that the city residents can pay a very small amount to get a larger gain by everybody passing through this city. So any of the new businesses that do come in that sell items will be paying this tax. Any vehicles sold, I think, would pay this tax. RVs, Walmart, Safeway. I think there's a very big gain for this. This would be a 10-year implementation time, or implemented for 10 years, and then would need further approval after that 10 years. The commercial industrial fee holiday is 2 years. 2 years will go very quick, and then we will be back to being fully funded at that point. I do realize that this has been voted down by members in the city, and that has not gone unheard. But I think it is a huge benefit for the city, for every resident to pay a very small cost, and I've said it before, to get a big gain for it. I don't think in the past it has been explained very well. It's been put out there. I think this time, I think the council has a very good understanding of the benefit of it. I think it'll be a really good thing. So I am in favor of this.
Okay, can I just add,
Councilmember Holland?
thank you. I would just like to add that, per the gentleman that spoke earlier, we see a lot of stuff on social media, and folks, it isn't really people's fault that they don't understand how roads are funded in our town. Everybody doesn't need to understand how it works. But we all live here, and we all drive on the same crappy roads. And on one hand, you hear people complain about the roads, but on the other hand, they don't want to pay for the roads. And you really can't have it both ways. That money has to come from somewhere. The city doesn't have a magic money tree in the backyard to go fund, right, to fund projects. And these are not cheap projects. These are millions, sometimes. One little patch of road is $750,000 to fix. I mean, it's they're not like you're trying to like pave your driveway. These are huge amounts of money, and it just goes up year after year. And I've lived here a really long time, and I've watched roads just get patched and patched and patched to death. And there's roads you don't want to drive down because it will shake your car apart, or it feels like it. And we all live here. We all drive on the same roads. And this is just a way for folks that we all know. People come from Kalama to grocery shop here. They come from La Center to grocery shop here. So all these folks that buy things in our town or go to Walmart or whatever, this is just a way that everybody that comes into our town pays their fair share for the roads that they're driving on, that we drive on every single day, and they maybe only drive on once a week. But it's a way that everybody can participate in the upkeep. And this group takes a lot of clapback from the community over things that not one person here had anything to do with. And it would be nice if folks would actually reach out, because everybody here is well educated in transportation benefit district for the last several years. So I think everybody here could have a good conversation with anybody in the community, and I think we're at crisis level with our roads. We really are at crisis level, and this is one of those things. So I just wanted to throw that out there if anybody's still listening to our go-to meeting or anything.
Councilmember Rounds.
I just wanted to bring attention to the typo and district for a term of 10 years, not a term of 10 years. So I just want to make sure that that
We'll
is,
change that for
yes.
next reading.
Okay. I would just like to re-point out that every comment tonight did not fall on deaf ears. It is a very difficult decision for anything that involves people's money. And all of us sitting here live in this city and want what's best for it. And I have seen comments on Facebook about people being benefited who are on the council, kickbacks. I can say without confidence there is not a single person up here that is taking a kickback for sitting up here. And conversations I've had with every council member up here, they have nothing but care for this city, and same thing with the city staff. Every conversation I've had is nothing but care and trying to move the city forward. So I hope that doesn't go unnoticed either. Any further comments? Seeing none,
Call the question.
call the question
Call the vote.
or call the vote. Yeah. Ms. Anderson, can we take the roll?
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Dowdy. Councilmember Dowdy.
Doughty.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Doty. Dowdy.
Action item E, ordinance 1518, Transportation Benefit District,
Move to approve.
funding ordinance, first reading, approved. Move on to action item F, resolution 746, adoption of the TIP 2023 to 2028.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve. Councilmember Burke, seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Councilmember Burke.
I think we need to pass it. Want to get any roads and stuff fixed.
Councilmember Rounds.
In order to get any funds, grants, we need to have them on the list, so we need to pass it.
Any further comment? Seeing none. Ms. Anderson, take the roll.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move on to action item G, Council Order 2022-1, utility rate billing and bi-monthly to monthly billing.
make a motion to approve Council Order 2022-1 utility rate billing and bi-monthly to monthly billing item 22-0026 supporting packet PDF.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Chapman.
Is this just moving it to August? Is this what,
Yes, I mean, this was my first seeing of an order too. Basically, what the council, if the council passes this, what it's saying is it understands that, because this was an extremely complex arrangement, it was tremendous negotiations, and the time was necessary, but we've sort of passed these ordinances in the past. And so what an order basically is this is from MRSC. An order is used by a legislative body to direct a specific action to be taken on behalf of the municipality. An order, for example, could be used to authorize the mayor or county executive to sign a contract. An order is less than a legislative enactment and requires little if any formality. For example, an order may roll. Once an order has been complied with, it's no longer in effect. So basically what it's saying is that if this is approved, you've understood the time that's going on, and all it is that you've made decisions in the past, we kind of went past, and this is you okaying and said, yes, this won't start until August 1st. And there is no other change whatsoever, because that's how the order works.
so everything has been passed already? We're just saying that it will not take effect in...
Correct, if someone was saying,
Yeah.
well, the city has broken it because the council had
Right.
previously said all
Right.
these other things,
Okay.
and what this is saying is that, yes, you approve that it took this time, so there are no things that we have to go back and clean up because we didn't finish sooner.
Okay. I'm all right with it.
Councilmember Chapman?
Oh, I agree, Harley, it's just like extending the due date to make sure everything's all
In
stuff
order.
in order and stuff, so.
Councilmember Dowdy?
So I have a question, because in this it says that it also delays the implementation of the new stormwater utility. So if it's in this, why do we have it as a separate delay?
I mean, because the stormwater,
There was a tax in one of them, the other one. One of them includes all of the billing, and the other ones were separate for stormwater and
One's adding the tax, one is changing it to
billing, yeah.
bi-monthly.
One's delaying it, one's adding it, saying, we are gonna start collecting it, cause we didn't collect it before.
Right.
And then the other one is like, we're gonna delay it at the same time until we do the monthly billing.
Okay, and
So we
so
don't
with us
have
saying an August date, does that mean that monthly billing's supposed to start in August?
Correct.
Any further questions?
Actually I do. So, since the study started two years ago, are we sure it's still accurate now? Since it's taken a couple years to get this far?
It was calculated out when FCS Group did the study, it was calculated out based on inflation and interest rates over a period of time.
Okay.
So, but I will say that we haven't been billing at that higher rate, so what we were supposed to start a year ago is now it's delayed a year, so we're behind a year in those billing rates. So, let's say for instance it was $32 a billing cycle, and we were supposed to start that in October, but now we're not gonna start that in October of last year, but now we're not gonna start till November this year. So, and then next year, it's gonna be $35, let's just say. So now we're really 1 year behind of our fee structure. Does that make sense?
Councilman-
So
Yeah.
then-
Hold on.
Yeah.
Councilmember Holland?
Okay, sorry.
You're good. Anything further? Councilmember,
I'm good.
Councilmember Dowdy?
So I guess.
I'm reading again.
Yeah, he's over
Sorry.
here, he's over here pausing.
I'm waiting on you.
So
Sorry,
because I
I'm
wasn't
reading.
here when all this was discussed in the past, I just wanted clarification. So you're saying what has not been implemented? Cause I know like last summer, the rates and the scale, that was implemented last summer. Correct?
We have not increased the rate structure since October, November of last year. Gina, do you remember, is that right? I think it was October, November of last year.
But, okay, so,
Yeah.
but last summer, when my bill was, not gonna discuss it, but last summer, that is when it went from just a flat rate to that 4 different scale or 5 different scale amounts, correct?
No, I don't think
No.
anything changed.
I think there's if you have a higher usage, you get charged a
Yes,
higher
that's
cost,
what I'm saying.
right?
That started last
That
summer
implemented?
though.
Well, that's been in effect, but
You're talking about averaging?
My bill jumped so astronomically last summer, so I'm just trying to figure out, because I have not been here sitting on council.
right, summer, your bill will always jump.
No, it
To
was,
irrigation.
we won't even discuss the amount that it jumped last summer. I mean, it was like over $1,300 in a pay period, so. So I'm just saying, something changed last summer because we didn't water any differently than we had in the 3 previous summers that we lived here. So I'm just trying to figure out what on this was already in effect last summer and
I
what's.
would have to look at your bill to answer that, because I don't believe I can answer that with the information I've been given.
Before, they used to bill us in the summertime, a average of your 6 bills, I think it was, or an average of the bills, and that's what it would fall down to the average of what you use. And I think it went up last year, if she says it.
I think
But
the
you
qu-
could, so we keep our lawns green, because they wanted us to.
So
I-
even if your yard is dead, you're still gonna get that every single summer. I've been getting it for years and years. And all anybody can tell me is, it's averaging with my dead yard. That my bill will be $600 every summer, just randomly, cause averaging. No one's been able to explain it to me. Apparently, it's a thing that all municipalities average your utility bill. You never pay what you actually use. That's what they've told me.
But I guess.
do know when FCS Group did the study, we did implement that higher water usage would get paid, billed at a higher rate.
Right, and that's on here now, but that started last summer, correct? Like,
The tiers started.
that's what I'm saying, the tiers started
Yeah,
last
but-
summer.
Right, but the rate increases did, but the tiers started.
The tiers started, but where there's different levels of amounts rather than one flat rate.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
So you're saying that's already been implemented, but
Yes.
the change year to year that's on this,
That's correct.
that did not start.
Correct. The
That's-
increase in fees.
So when we look at it for the chart, are we looking at what the 2021 rates are gonna bump up to? Like, what would be, or are we looking at the actual August 22?
You can look at the chart and it tells you the month that's on there, what the rate is.
That's accurate in that one.
Yeah, and then it says starting August 1st, that's what the new rate's gonna be.
Okay.
And then starting, January 1st, that'll be the next new rate. So it shows what the current rate is in there, which I think it says October, or what does the first column say?
the first
Column says,
first couple are a lot more painful. They were a higher increase the first couple, and then they kind of level out over the years. Is
yeah,
that
let
what
me
I
pull
remember?
it up. So what I'm saying is the first column that you're looking at, you have charts in there?
Yes,
Let's
so
look.
I'm looking at the chart. So as far, I see like the size of meter. So what's the average meter for our home?
3/4 inch.
Okay, so,
if you're looking at it, hang on, hold this up here, like right there, hang on. So see where it says,
Well, this is the bi-monthly.
oh, that's a bi-monthly, okay, yeah.
which is fine. We can look at the bi-monthly right now. Like, I'm just,
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I'm
it's
wanting to
effective-
understand what
Yeah.
I've already seen and what will be to come, I guess
Yeah,
is
so
what.
what it shows is what rates are effective as of February 21 for 3/4 inch.
So the effective 2021, that did happen.
That's in effect,
That's what we're paying right now.
yes,
And so the next thing is August 1st is when we see the next jump.
yes, August 1st, and then you'll see another jump in January. The first jump was supposed to be in November of 2021.
Okay.
So we're
So we're
almost a whole
changing the
year off.
timeline, but
Yeah, we're changing the timeline to monthly billing. So
So all of these are going up even more than in the monthly billing, they're more than they are in the bi-monthly.
No.
Okay,
No.
but I mean, like, I compared it, and like, say 1 month is 59.26, but on the other one it's like, okay, so say it's 0.0361 for the first tier. When it goes to monthly, it's 0.0431. So it is changing to where we're paying more for water when it goes to monthly than the same rate. Plus,
From what I remember previous conversations, it is a higher cost for going to monthly billing. And it was voted on by council at that time to
which is
proceed
fine.
to monthly billing.
I want to have understanding of what this is.
Yeah, and it is based on the tier usage too, so.
Right.
Right.
Right, I have all that written down too. So last summer, these February 21 rates were in place, plus the tier took place. So now we're just gonna see the price increase for the month. No else surprises, like.
No more tiers, right, tiers are in place, and just it will be a monthly effective, starting August first, that's correct, and going then to January.
Okay. Okay.
And this is just delaying the implementing it. So it should be implemented now.
It should have been implemented already.
We're delaying it a couple more months to work out the details with Minol, and it's kind of been kicking the can down the road a little bit, trying to
Okay.
get everybody coordinated together to do it at the right time is
Do
kind of,
monthly billing, correct.
yeah. So. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Anderson, can we take the roll?
Councilmember Burke,
No.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Motion passes 5-1. Move on to, is that H now? Sorry, I'm getting lost here.
Yes.
Yes.
So
It's now the water utility.
move on to A, action item H, Council Order 2022-2, Stormwater Utility Tax Delay.
Make a motion to, order 2022-2 stormwater utility tax delay items supporting 22-0027 supporting packet.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Rounds.
And this is just delaying it until August also, is that correct?
Yeah, and we haven't
Yes.
charged it,
Okay,
so it'll be a new charge.
Yeah.
I think it's about $5 a month.
okay. No more comments from me.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yeah, it's the same thing we just did with the water side. It was doing it with the stormwater side. Yeah, so.
And the stormwater utility tax is to mitigate damage done by stormwater.
Correct, and we currently pay for our stormwater repairs out of our road fund, so by putting this on there, we can use this towards our stormwater and use our road funds for roads. So we won't be taking out maintenance dollars for our roads and putting in stormwater, that was the whole reason why we implemented the stormwater utility tax, so we could have more money for our road fund.
And all of our neighbors have this fund. Most of our city yeah, all the,
Majority of them,
yeah.
yes. When the study was done, yes.
So is
Ms.
that the
Coleman?
charge that's gonna be added?
Wasn't this mandated by the state for us to have something like this put in place? It wasn't? Okay, it wasn't, all right.
This is part of that study that they did,
FCS group did.
FCS,
and
okay.
funding our stormwaters properly, and not kicking the can down the road like we have for the last 30 years.
Taking it out of the general fund,
So.
which was all part of the road
Well,
fund.
we should say that this won't fully fund our stormwater efforts that we do right now, but it's a step in the right direction.
'Kay.
Which will free up money for other road projects.
And again, this is not increasing, this is just delaying implementation a couple more months, or 2 months
From the original.
from the original,
Right, so
Plan.
council
It's been
passed
approved.
it originally.
Right.
yeah.
And we've just delayed implementation until we got to the monthly.
Okay. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none. Take the roll, Ms. Anderson.
Councilmember Dowdy,
That was an
Aye.
oh, I didn't.
Sorry.
I was like, sorry.
It was a very depressive eye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
No.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Browns.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-1. Move on to action item I. Council Order 2022-3 Low Income Utility Tax Billing Rate.
Move
Item.
to approve. Just so you don't have to go through the whole
Thank you.
thing.
Second.
Motion to approve by
page is
Councilmember
that?
Holland, seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Councilmember Holland.
Again, we're delaying because everything else is being delayed until we implement monthly billing. But this is something that is incredibly important for folks on a fixed income and low income individuals in our community to actually pay less for their utility bills. We had a lot of conversations back when FCS did their rate study. So hopefully, I don't know. I'm okay with it, thank you.
Councilmember
I
Rounds.
agree with,
What page is that on?
It's, do you have your iPad?
Yeah, I've got it, but I.
So if you push the blue hyperlink in the I, under action item I, all of it pops up.
So, clarification.
I've been doing
Councilmember
it.
Dowdy?
Is this something that was already passed? This is just delaying the, okay, I'm just clarifying that this
Yes.
and the last two
right.
have already been passed by council before I was here.
You are not, you are not imposing a tax. You are delaying the tax.
Just delaying. Okay, I just want clarification on what I'm doing.
You are delaying it by 2 more months.
Okay.
You are saving yourself money.
There's hours and hours and hours of conversations online. You could go back and watch. That was mid-COVID, so we were all separated, so you don't really hear all of us that well, but it took a long, long time.
I know I was told about it, I just, now seeing it is a little different.
There is no experience that is worse than voting yourself in a tax increase
Right.
Right.
or a fee increase or anything. It is soul sucking when you have to vote it in for yourself for the good of the city.
Well,
So,
until you turn your faucet on and you have clean drinking water, you can flush your toilet and you have your sewage goes down, and you drive on your road and you don't get potholes. So there's your satisfaction.
I
See that.
live blind and only get emails from the city asking for money. But thank you. I agree. But it is very difficult to do that for people to vote that in. So, any further comment? Why do we have to delay the
Monthly billing.
the low
Low income.
the delay the low income? I guess why can't that be implemented?
So there already is a low income, situation in place.
Okay.
This is just the new rates with the monthly billing rates.
Okay.
So this will supersede the old one.
So there is already a low income in there. It's not taking away. It's just this is going to modify the original one we have.
It's to go from bi-monthly to monthly
Okay.
at the rates council talked about.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
we have additional programs out there that help people who are in need available as well on top of the normal.
Okay. I'm good. Any other further questions? Seeing none. Ms. Anderson, take the roll.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
I,
Motion approved. I can't remember all the votes. I wasn't
Move
fully
to
paying
approve
attention.
ordinance.
So we'll move to approve action item or motion. Sorry. We're moving on to action item J. Ordinance 1516, wheeled all-terrain vehicle ordinance, first reading.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 1516, wheeled all-terrain vehicle ordinance, first reading.
Second.
Motion to approve, Councilmember Round, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Round.
Well, planning commission, I think, has worked up something that's pretty feasible for us, so, and if we have golf carts, they're gonna have to be street legal to be able to be on the road, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Sorry, Councilmember Chapman.
Some citizens brought it forward and stuff, and a lot of the states are already doing it, so we drawn up something, and the planning commission did a great job of getting this together. And the way gas prices are going, hopefully it'll give some people a little bit easier break on having to jaunt around town instead of getting into their truck or car, so trying to help out.
My,
Councilmember
is this
Holland?
with the correction
Yeah,
for the
that's right.
street?
Oh, that's right. It needed to be corrected,
Oh,
didn't it?
That's right.
So,
Don't we-
Correct.
Correction is not on the record.
Don't we have to vote for this
So-
and then put an
No.
amendment?
so we need to make a new motion.
So actually,
No, we
if,
can add it.
I understand the intent of council is to include that correction. Because this is the first reading, staff can just add that.
Correct
for
it for the
second
next
reading.
time, okay,
And we'll make
perfect.
a point
So
to
we're gonna do a-
show the language when it's presented.
And also, I think he talked about the, colored chart with the streets
Map.
reversed.
Yeah.
Right,
Like to
so-
see that included.
Same scenario on
so-
that.
So again, we'll bring, like, Community Development Director Goddard, discussed, different options for maps, is that right?
Okay,
So,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
you can choose which map to attach.
Councilmember Dowdy, did you have anything further?
No, that was my question.
Councilmember Burke? Nothing? Okay. Yeah, as long as the vehicles are legal to drive on the road, I don't have a problem with it. And I hope that people realize that this can be taken away just as easily if people go out there and are abusing this. And the city is getting constant complaints. It will go away. So I hope people realize that you need to be decent human beings because people do live in this community. And if you're out there making it bad, it's going to get lost. So,
Clarification, they do have to have a driver's license to be able to do
Oh,
this on the
yes.
road for this purpose, right? Okay.
okay. Any further questions or comments? Councilmember
Yeah,
Burke?
Are we gonna put any signs on Atlantic and Pacific that they can't be on those roads like we did
Talking about signs, so,
before it's
I-
released?
yeah, so per MUTCD standards, there will be certain signage at all golf cart crossing locations.
Well, we're talking.
Oh, gosh, maybe I'll talk to golf carts.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it's
know, I was
HEB.
good.
Doesn't say me.
You and I are on the same page here.
Okay, were we on the same page?
I
Thank
have golf
you very
carts. That's
much.
all I want.
Of course, on my mind. I am so sorry. I
What was it?
apologize. Thank you.
What was that question?
So we will figure out signage
Yeah.
Okay.
as appropriate.
Okay.
And so, do people have to get a permit or anything like the golf cart? Okay. So will that money pay for the signage? Because I think the golf cart, if I remember correctly, it was like $400 for the signs for the golf cart zone, and they've only ever sold one permit. So I was just kind of curious.
I have a feeling they'll probably sell more ATV permits than they did.
100%.
I kind of think so
golf
too.
cart.
Everybody has one for hunting.
Mhm.
And as long as we are sure that people aren't gonna turn their 12-year-olds loose on city streets, I think as long as they're licensed drivers, I think we can all feel
Well, it's
pretty
an
good about
annual
this. What,
permit. It's an annual permit, so the money will come in every year that they renew. So the signs are hopefully a one-time cost with, unless it gets hit by a major semi-truck. Lost 4 of those last week. But, you know, just updating the signs, to keep them nice and clean and fresh. So I don't know if the original application permits that we issue will cover all the signage costs. Because we're talking thousands and
How much are the annual costs for one person to register their vehicle?
You know that,
Golf carts are $40. I'm not sure what the heavyweight TV would be set up.
Who would
Be
do
an OTV?
Is that in here, the cost?
That'd be an OTV?
I don't believe so. That would, we're redoing the fee resolution,
Okay.
and it would, unless I'm wrong, Travis, but I believe it appears in the fee resolution. So, we're hoping to bring that to you next month,
Okay.
and that would include the fee.
Okay.
So what would they pay in the meantime when this passes? Is there an implementation time of when they would,
Well, we might have to look at that for
the second
for
reading
the
on?
implementation. We may delay it until the implementation until the fee resolution is passed.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll have that
Lag.
area in time where a fee wouldn't be required.
Okay.
They'll get it by winter.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, Sanderson, take the roll.
Councilmember Dowdy?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman?
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to action item K, ordinance 1517, special event permit standards, first reading.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1517 special event permit standards, first reading.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Rounds.
I think we just need to get, there was some wording that wasn't proper, I think, wasn't it, Stacy, that,
Travis.
or was it Travis, that, on the fees?
Travis, you were talking about that special event.
It was a special event, correct?
So I know that we are talking about making changes to the fee schedule so that it better reflects the scope. But I think in this ordinance, it just refers to our adopted fee schedule rather than putting numbers in here and in there.
Okay.
But we did have a discussion about when fees were being waived for
Right,
certain events.
correct.
We're going to incorporate that into the fee schedule, and council can manipulate that in whichever way it so chooses.
Councilmember Chapman.
So,
Yeah, I'm just happy to get this going. 'Cause I remember we were talking about this before, Travis, and you and the planning commission are rolling and getting stuff moving forward. It's nice to see that going on now.
Councilmember Burke.
yeah, so you're saying you're going to implement this into the, fees we charge right now? So why would we need this done at all?
So this is the code that authorizes us to process those permits.
Oh.
So right now, theoretically, it's a voluntary compliance process, whereas if the city were to say no, there's no necessarily way to prevent them from having an event that's not authorized by the city.
So like the recent event that we said no to, they could have held it anyways, is that what you're saying? Theoretically, okay.
This way,
It also,
ordinance.
it also gives
fine.
the city, we now actually, if we wanted to have them, if we wanted to force them to make changes, say it's safety or security changes, we would now have the authority to actually enforce those changes rather than requesting from the goodness
okay.
of their hearts.
Okay, so.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Ms. Anderson, can we take the roll?
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy?
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman?
I don't
Here.
answer, we'll get placed. I take 15 minutes. Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Motion has been approved.
Motion
We
to
can,
end
right,
meeting?
we
Move
can
to end the meeting.
take a motion to
Second.
conclude the meeting.
We already-
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting has been concluded at 9:09. Thank you, everybody. No, that's okay.
That was one question I forgot to ask Ann, so I guess I'll give her an email.
Money has them.
You're in
Things to
trouble.
sign? Rick wants to sign.
I'm gonna run out the door, because I am tired
Hey.
and I'm done.
Did
Sorry.
you, everybody
talk to the
signed
mayor
the
pro tem
finance
personally
committee's,
for-
I haven't signed
20
it
minutes.
yet,
Okay.
so I'm pretty sure I need
The finance committee, yeah.
Do you know how I explained our utility rates to somebody? They said,
Is that your bag? Cost me
$1 to make, or cost you $2 to make.
Oh, I never got to read it, Pete.
And you
Who made the
only
motion to
charge
adjourn?
$1.
I haven't done any
I
stuff.
did.
What happened?
You're gonna be here for a while.
Losing money.
They all did.
Well, that money has to come from somewhere.
Let's make.
Thank you.
Interestingly enough, FSC Group or FCS Group, they were the sponsor to AWC. So I'm like, I know your logo. Did you do a utility rate study for the city of Woodland? They're like, we did. And then they knew what day. And then they told me they didn't, the guys there didn't actually do it personally, but they knew of the, anyway. I was like, I know your logo. Why do I know your logo?
Oh, I know days now. I'm like,
So should I cross out,
no, you're gonna stay another 30 minutes. Anyways, so what I want.
so Mayor Pro Tem?
Should I,
Well,
I guess you're
Yes, yes, yes.
And so that's why I said I can't answer the question based on the information. I don't necessarily always know who the right person is to ask the questions. That's okay. Well, but you can always ask me, and I will always get you to the person who can answer
Okay.
or answer for you.
Water and garbage are two different entities.
No, my
Because
bill
they're on
went to
septic.
over $1,300.
Yes,
Never
well,
got above 500.
water is a co-op